All right, what's going on, everybody? It's Matt 10, FIFA 19 demo. It looks like here, pretty exciting. It's taking Twitter by storm. You know, graphics always been FIFA's strong suit, and now they're getting a lot more in depth with the tactics. Definitely cannot be more excited to hear about that. We see just a little glimpse here. Looks like some of the values there use 10-point scales. Some of the other ones look to be either 4 or 5. That's always a good thing, to increase the tactics to be a big emphasis. I know that was a big thing they talked about during E3, so it's nice to see it here in motion. And of course, we see, you know, the features and dynamic tactics, time finishing, which we'll go over into in another video. Again, it's really cool to see the graphics here for the UEFA Europa League. I love that EA is just taking as much as possible to the presentation of the UEFA Champions League that we saw on my last video, and then here on the Europa League. This is great to see as well. Manchester United facing against Manchester City. You got new commentators with Derek Ray and Lee Dixon. A big note, of course, as some people have probably mentioned as well, is the night lighting. Love to see the night lighting improved here. It's not as glimmering and, you know, kind of just too blue, essentially, is how I felt it was, and almost bland as well. Somehow, you know, FIFA 18 just made that happen. It was really a strange look to the night lighting, and so it looks to be improved here. Love to see the presentation. Again, we see, you know, faces. I've never really been big on faces and player, the way they look and everything. I don't want it to look outrageous. I'm confident, you know, they're using a Frostbite engine. They've got licenses galore. I figured they'd know what they're doing. But what I really care about here is the gameplay. And so this is playing on professional. And you can tell right away with professional, for those of you guys that know about sliders and everything like that, professional, you have an advantage in the acceleration department against the computer. Probably like a 1-point to 2-point scale acceleration advantage. So the user's going to be sprinting as much as possible. There's not going to be as much resistance. Just make a comment here about the nice animation there, just between players and, of course, the fans. You know, the scene cutting to the fans turning their back, just as Manchester City does when they score goals. 1-0 against their heated rivals, of course. Never a bad start, but we'll see just how professional plays here, and kind of how easy it is to dispossess the computer. You know, it just shows kind of the difficulty being at professional and how easy it is. It's nice to see some ball physics, though, come into play, because that'll always happen regardless of your difficulty level. So here you can see the way the ball moves. It looks really alive, similar to how it was on that E3 leaked video. I can still tell, like, the ball is moving really nicely. It's not staying in the air too long, not, you know, not dropping right away either. Here's a bad pass. It's nice to see as well. The forward picks up the ball. It kind of is pretty typical of FIFA. Forward always picks up the ball from a corner somehow, and, you know, at least the user gets it back here. And you can see they're not met with much resistance at all. There is a lot of forward, and again, you can't judge the game on that. This is on professional difficulty. This is on default sliders. This is 4-minute halves. It's going to be fast and furious. It is the way the game is going, in the sense of, you know, esports and everything. Nobody wants to watch, you know, a 0-0, 1-0 type of match. But for those of you guys who, you know this channel and know what we're all about here, is focusing on realism and focusing on the elements to improve the game, to make it more realistic. So what we're going to pay attention to is just kind of the space between players. What I love about FIFA, they really do accomplish positioning as a base in a pretty good format. Now, there is still that sense of running off the ball, running just, you know, straight ahead off the ball, getting open. It's always been that way. You can see multiple runs, 3 or 4 runs. There's no real sense of build-up. It's really just fast-paced action and running it from side to side, all the way from point A to point B. There is good positioning off the ball, defensive midfielders in their proper positions, you know, supporting the attack, which then helps the transition play. And you see the computer probably wants to play a little bit of football, so that's positive to see, and that's on professional difficulty. So hopefully, and some of the things that I'm really paying attention to in this video, I've watched it a couple times, is seeing how the computer chooses to attack. I don't know what Man United's tactics are in, for the computer side. There was a completely missed foul there. Not sure how that wasn't called, but anyway, the main thing that I want to see is how the computer adheres to the tactics chosen. Now, since I don't know what Man United's tactics are, I'm just going to assume, they're probably looking at possession, looking at building numbers as much as I can, defensively and offensively. I can tell that by how their speed of their attack, their build-up speed doesn't seem super fast. The main thing I want to see here from just a base standpoint is how they attack. Are they going to use a driven pass right away, or are they going to try to send in some normal passes such as that one and that one? I mean, how many times are we going to see driven passes? There's your driven pass. And are we going to see another one? And that is the big thing with FIFA 17, FIFA 18. The computer's attack method was always a driven pass at one point in time. And so that's what I'm hoping to see less of, because a driven pass is a given. I understand the necessary, the purpose of it. I understand why people want to use it. I understand why the computer wants to use it. You want to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. But if we're going to use tactics, then driven pass is a pass that goes forward, and the computer doesn't use it very often to go side to side. So if they're not going to use it for side-to-side action, then we need to see it, used a little bit less when they're trying to go forward, because not every attack is just going to be a driven pass going forward. What is good, though, is the way the computer is attacking. So they are direct in the sense of the defensive third. This was crazy, too, if you see that animation, the header there hitting the crossbar, and then the next shot hitting the crossbar. So we got to be careful for that, because we saw a lot of that in FIFA 18 with just these crossbar hits. And I know a lot of guys complained about that. Even those who are not into like the slider or modifying the gameplay or anything, there was a good group of individuals who were upset with how easy it was, or how common it was to hit the crossbar. So my big thing with what I pay attention to is on those shots, I want to make sure there's no warping. There was a big deal with warping last year, and if for those who don't know, warping is pretty much, a body part intersecting with another body part, if you will, and that happened a lot in FIFA 18. It was basically like the game was trying to catch up with the ball speed primarily, and so FIFA is one of those games that has been kind of hitchy, kind of very twitchy type of game. I think that is also in part because it uses high frames per second, uses 60 frames per second. In this video, I think it's just slightly under that, which I really like how the player's animation look in this video. But I think when it gets to the interaction with the ball, it can oftentimes not catch up with the ball speed. So if your ball speed is really low, 50 is by default the value there, but to me that's even sometimes kind of low. You can see here, even on regular passes, you can see how the ball starts to slow down as it reaches its destination. It's also the same way how the ball kind of gets stuck in the feet of players, and so that causes that animation of them warping through their own body at times. I saw that a lot in FIFA 18, and I've seen a little bit of that here in 19. Not as evident, something more to pay attention to. We'll just have to kind of keep an eye out for that, especially when when the full game comes out. I do really like how the computer is attacking even on professional difficulty. There's a little graphic up at the top. That's a nice little substitution graphic. Just more presentation, more environment, kind of gets you really in the mood to play and just enjoy a game of FIFA. People talk about FIFA sometimes as kind of make fun of it, and I don't know how, because FIFA's very close to simulation. It's got such a solid base. It just has little quirks sometimes, like that warping that I talked about, and sometimes the player attitude, we call it attention deficit defending, which is ADD, of what we talk about in the slider world, where players are running away from where they should be marking, etc. I haven't seen too much of that, but again, this is a demo video, so it's not one that I'm really going to take too seriously. I'm sure there's still time to improve. And knowing FIFA, and EA rather, I love the fact that they constantly improve. This is a nice goal, really like that. But I do love how EA constantly improve with patch updates, etc. I know some people hate it, but I love that at least they pursue it to make the game better. And that's really what I love about EA, in that sense of that they always try to improve their game. They take feedback, they have a great community. I'm getting to know a couple of the guys on there. I'm really liking what I see. Corey is really awesome. We've got a lot of new game changers, which sounds like awesome individuals. Looking forward to following them and seeing what they have to come up with. Hopefully, you know, my videos and our slider projects that we work on and Operation Sports will continue to, you know, enhance that experience as well for the offline crowd. But we looked there, just that goal. I really like the animation. Again, just the ball physics. We look at the ball physics here in general. It's not so easy to see, but like I said, the ball does kind of seem to stop as it reaches its destination. Not as bad as FIFA 18. You see there, it just kind of just stops just a little bit. I don't feel like it's 100% loose. Now, that might be okay in the sense of needing to control it, you know, and kind of feeling like it's not super manipulative, if you will. You know, you can't, it's not just on a string like it was in FIFA 18 that I felt like. But at the same time, I'd love for it just to be a little bit more looser, just a little bit more alive, if you will. And it brings me to then my next point about the ball is the ball size. EA is still fairly small. We're looking at a size 4 ball, it feels like, and we can't get into, I'll have to wait for a replay, but I've noticed this, you know, FIFA 17, it's something we all paid attention to, and we're like, wait a minute, this ball size doesn't look right. It's like a size 4, even though the player's shoe doesn't, you know, it doesn't seem like, you know, it's too big essentially. So either A, the player models are too big, or B, the ball size is too small. And I think it's the latter, with the ball size being too small. So hopefully somebody can look at that. A great comparison is to look at FIFA 16 and compare that to FIFA 19, FIFA 18, FIFA 17 and beyond. So you can see that the ball size is pretty significant. And I think that's also what contributes to that feeling of not being completely in control of the ball, or not feeling like the ball is alive in a sense. It essentially feels like it's glued to players' feet, you know, and this is talking about FIFA 18. From what I've seen, FIFA 19 does not seem to be the case, but you just never know how it's actually going to feel. I did want to make a note as well about goal kicks. Looks like goal kicks are improved, no longer hitting those short, you know, very short goal kicks that were really frustrating to look at because you couldn't get to a player in time, or you'd have to, you know, move before the kick. I like to see that, so that's a good improvement. We look here at a corner. Players getting into the box is a good sign. I want to see, as soon as a loose ball occurs, if everybody starts retreating, because that is a big thing that's been plaguing FIFA for years and years and years. I would say as far as FIFA 14, maybe even FIFA 12, where players start to retreat as soon as the ball becomes a loose ball. So, you know, that's something to pay attention to. So as you guys know with my channel, I always kind of pay attention to the little gameplay details, kind of all over the place in this sense, because I'm just kind of watching this and commentating. But I hope you understand kind of what I'm talking about, just in general with how the game and kind of what I've been seeing here. Again, this is professional difficulty, so we can't really expect a whole bunch of resistance in the gameplay. I did like how it looked. I liked how the ball is a lot better physics than it did in 17 and 18. I want to see more. I want to see in a higher difficulty and see how the computer attacks. Considering it's professional difficulty, I'm still pretty happy with how they attacked. And the next thing here we see, of course, is the celebration. You know, I don't know if anybody else feels like this. Make sure, you know, leave your comment below. But I personally don't like to see cup celebrations, league celebrations, or anything like that until I get to experience them. Sometimes seeing these are just such a spoiler for me because I don't get to, you know, experience it on my own. I've kind of been like, okay, well, I've already seen that animation, that animation, that animation. Now it's just about copy and paste, right? So I don't know if how you guys feel about that, but me personally, I'm a big fan of watching these, but I do think it's kind of cool, you know, The graphics are great. The motion is great. There's like a motion blur. You can see it's very cinematic. I love that look about this FIFA 19 look. And again, the night lighting is great. Just everything, the environment, it's just FIFA captures that so well. They make that game feel so good, and just make it feel like actual football. And I think that's a real positive thing and more of what's needed. See, just here, like the confetti falling down, players making their lap, showing their fans. Seems like everybody's a Manchester City fan, but it's really cool. It's really cool, and it's a great environment. So anyway, guys, that is all for me on this video, just my first impressions of the FIFA 19 demo video. Thanks again for watching. Make sure to leave your comments below. What did you guys think about the video? What are you excited about in FIFA 19? I'll go over some of the areas of gameplay that they announced and some of the tactics that they announced as well, and the next coming days. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, take care and stay tuned.